Hello guys, so here once again, gonna do this last video blog. It's been a pleasure, it's been fun, it's something different, and something I think that a lot of our classes should actually incorporate. Well, without further ado, first question was actually, in what ways do politics and politicians define U.S. immigration policies? Well, in reality, if something that we've seen all the way up to this point in the chapters is the fact that politicians, according to their agenda, always seem to be moving forward with immigration policies. For example, in this chapter, we actually saw policies that have been implemented in today's era. In we could say in the modern era of immigration. For example, if we see something short as with President Obama, we saw a lot of these immigration policies with a lot of the um, a lot of the situations that ICE was actually doing. A lot of those that they were barging into the houses middle of the night. It's crazy. It's a very difficult situation to actually see. Something that I could personally say. I know I share a lot about Fort Hancock. Living over there in Fort Hancock, one of my friends, his mother was actually an immigrant. She was actually living with them. I could remember, in a short amount of time that I remember that ICE actually went to their house and actually, in Spanish they say catear. They actually, got to the house at the middle of the night and they actually took his mom and they deported her. But we could actually see something that actually impacts everyone. And one of the biggest reasons why politicians do tend to define those immigration policies is due to popular vote. Popular vote. President Trump agenda was based on make America great again, making America great again by actually focusing on Hispanics. Hispanics supposedly taking away a lot of the jobs, and in turn causing a lot of controversy, causing a lot of people to be actually against immigrants, which we saw with these top 10 myths is actually quite the opposite. Well, now, as far as why is social justice important, is an important component of any immigration system? Well, if we actually do tend to see the definition, social justice is a rather indistinct term that can mean different things to different people. Commonly, social justice is a policy making theory that tries to ensure that all members of society are treated fairly and that all have the same opportunities to partake and share in the benefit of society. When it comes to that, society, that's in the gist of the name. Social justice, justice for the society, for the social being of everybody, you know, and it's very beneficial and it's the most important component because we we want everybody to be treated fairly, you know, such as in these detention centers. Uh, an unfortunate situation, but we want them to be treated fairly. For example, I had actually given an example for Tornillo, Texas, the detention center that they had. I used to drive there going home, and I used to see the kids, I used to see the kids outside, and it was a bad thing, it was a bad feeling to actually see the kids, you know, they were probably as old as my son. My son is 6 years old, and to see them without their mom, without their dads, not knowing, probably being from two countries away, not necessarily Mexico, but even El Salvador, Honduras, or even Guatemala. And we as members of society have to look forward to helping these other individuals for the benefit of for the benefit of humankind, of human kindness, of the race and society as a whole. Um, and that's basically the gist of social justice, upholding upholding society's moral values and actually stressing the benefit of you know everybody being treated a humane way. Now, what did I learn throughout this course about the past and current immigration system in the U.S.? One of the biggest issues that I really had never understood, and I guess because of now, nowadays, immigration is basically based on Hispanics, based on Mexicans. But I really never sat down and actually noticed that it actually dates back to the 1800s. America is a melting pot. America was a country created by immigrants for immigrants. You know, based on the 13 colonies, they came over here. They were immigrants. Unless we're really Native American, everybody was an immigrant. Then it was actually very different for me to find out that, everybody was against the Irish. Everybody was against the Italians. Everybody was against Chinese, and then now in turn with Mexicans, and then now in turn with Hispanics, and even with Middle Eastern countries, Arabian people, people from Saudi Arabia, people from Iraq, Qatar, all these Middle Eastern countries. Another aspect that was very very different for me was these actually what happened here in El Paso. These situations. We actually explored this, I believe, in the first chapter, where they were picking up Hispanics and they were actually deporting them, even if they were born citizens. Even if they were U.S. born citizens, they deport them back. A very unfortunate event that was very very new to me, that I actually never found out about. Now, as far as the current immigration system in the U.S., um, what I learned is something. I drove through those detention centers, the detention center they had here in Tornillo, Texas, but I really never actually saw in detail of what they do, and the things that happen amongst them. And the video Lost in Detention Center actually allowed me to find out in depth what actually happens in these detention centers. Unfortunate events, and sometimes they're treated inhumanely. Now, but yeah, more than anything, this course has allowed me to have a broader view on the immigration, on immigrants. Something that I'd like to share. I work, I work in Dish. I work for sales. I work in Dish Network selling services, and it's crazy, learning firsthand a lot of the situations that these immigrants pass. If not, a lot of you are very well aware, but you could actually get television service without having, a social security number or a tax ID, an IT number, or even a debit card. And it's very humbling to find out a lot of these situations that these immigrants actually go through. From, for example, from El Salvador coming here, they mount La Bestia, the train that runs from El Salvador through Mexico all the way, I believe, to Brownsville, to the border of South Texas, and then still crossing over. Uh, having to do that journey crossing over, because the easy part was just getting to the border, but now they have to cross over and actually maintain. And it's been very humbling. It's been a very humbling experience and a great course overall.